What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Vative experience with me, your host, diavion Nicolas, and man, do we have stuff to talk about tonight. So, I just finished dancing for 8 hours in one day. Yes, 8 freaking hours. That's a full-on school day. That's a full-on part-time job. 8 hours a freaking day? That's what I just did. I usually, it's like you start creating and building your own stories for yourself. When I was around 16 years old, I started cultivating that for myself. When I first tried out dancing for 6 hours, I've never done anything like that before, dancing for a long time, 6 to 9 hours. Never done anything like that. And the first time I tried it, I did it. I was testing and executing my willpower and just getting in tune and getting in conversation with that voice in my head that tells me to quit, So yeah, I just did a full-on 8 hours, Firstly, what I want to go over is what I got from that, right? So there's a few things I learned from that. So one of the things that I learned that I think has to be like the most fundamental of all of it is that voice in your head that wants you to quit. It is always there. It will always be there. But it's about being able to listen to it, hear it, but let it go through one ear and out the other. Because several times today, first off, this entire video was supposed to be a one take because I did not want anybody to think that, I cheated, that I did some of the videos or different clips from different days. But randomly my mom had said that I had to go to the bank and I had to leave and stuff, and then we ended up not even going. So that was like a whole 30 minutes of just blank space of nothing happening. So I had the time on the tablet and I had to keep constantly throughout the video reminding people of the time and the day to let them know that it's still the same day, and so what I was getting from that is when I heard from my mom is, when she said that I had to come, that freaking literally made me I already have 2 hours in the game. I already did 2 hours. Maybe I should just call this video a 2-hour video. But then I started thinking about the whole accountability thing. The show I auditioned for, I specifically told the casting agent that I have an 8-hour long dance video coming out in a few days. I literally said that. I told my family I'm making an 8-hour long dance video. I told you guys on the podcast I'm making an 8-hour long dance video. It's not like going to Manhattan, because going to Manhattan requires a ride. Making an 8-hour long dance video, all I have to do is step outside, and the court's not too far. So I was like, for the 8-hour dance video, there's really nothing holding me back but me. And that's number 2 of the things that I learned, is that you are your biggest enemy. You can be the only one holding you back. That's it. When I am outside dancing for 8 hours, literally nobody else can do anything about that, because that's me putting in the work. It's similar to skateboarding. You can get help from people every now and then, but it's you putting in the work. That's how it is with me with dancing. So I'm thinking, this is a test on my willpower. This is definitely not something I'm gonna be doing every weekend, every month. Shoot, probably not even every year, because I practice every day. I just don't do 8 hours every day, But what I learned, from this about, you being your biggest enemy is that all these other people are, taking dance classes and getting all this help. Me, I'm doing it by myself. And I honestly, genuinely don't give a crap what anybody has to say about that, because so what? Say what you want, but my dance style doesn't look like yours. I don't care about fitting into your box. Cool. Your box does not make you millions.
Oh man, now we're talking.
Now you speaking facts. That's facts right there.
Why? Because your box is easily replaceable. I don't want to be a cube, I went off on a tangent, but back to the you were your worst enemy. So I'm dancing, and around, after the whole thing happened with my mom, when I came back out around like the 3-hour mark. No, not even with the first song, the United Palace by Teo. It was on repeat, and I literally remember halfway, not even like 10 minutes through, I was like, oh my god, why does it seem like I've danced to the song so many times and it hasn't even been 5 minutes yet? And I look at the clock and I'm like, what the this song is only a minute long? That's why the song is mad short. But I also remember, before it started, I purposely picked that song because of how short it was. I did it on purpose because of how short it was, because it was more of a challenge, So, in effect, with you being your biggest enemy, with my voice in the back of my head, if me being my biggest enemy would mean that I picked the easy songs. You get me? Like, I pick the easy songs. I dance for a little bit of time. I upload a little bit of the video, I stand up for a little bit of the video. Like, guys, I had to sit down because my freaking legs were so sore, but I probably only sat down for about 45 minutes out of the 8 hours of the video. But, like, me being my greatest enemy, it's that when I'm outside freaking dancing, practicing for 8 hours, who else is around that can tell me, do this? I'm getting in my zone. I'm just, it's like when you're driving for a really long time to a different state and you forget you're driving on the highway, and let's keep in the fact that let's keep in your head that I'm freaking 18 years old. I've already built up this much willpower and stuff at 18. Why? Because I'm seeking it out. I understand that it's easy to be your greatest enemy. I understand that you're the only one that can really genuinely hold you back. That's why every day I'm actively seeking a resolution to that. Every single day. Because I believe that you holding yourself back is all due to a voice in your head telling you that you can't do something. And I believe that chances are that voice didn't come from you. So if it's your dream, why would you let a voice that didn't come from you, it's just echoing in your subconscious, affect you? Like, seriously. Alright, now, moving on to something else that I learned from this. So, I'm gonna say around the 5-hour mark, when I was dancing to So Hot You're Hurting My Feelings by Caroline Polachek, like, I started to notice, like, so over a while, while I'm dancing, I start to develop a certain rhythm that I want to follow on the song, like if the song's like da-da-da, I notice I'll follow that every time the song comes around. But I also notice the more I keep following that, it gets freaking boring and I don't feel like dancing anymore, right? So, I had to like switch it, which gave me an idea when I dance to a song every time around, dance to different instruments to keep it from getting boring. Alright, what's the next thing I learned? I'm not even going to number it. I'm just going to blurt it all out, before I go to bed. It's 11:05 and I have to go to bed at 11:30. So, what's another thing I learned, right? Sorry for the yawn. Another thing I learned is that this isn't really so much as when I was outside practicing. It's when, I went to go and tell somebody I was practicing. So at the front desk of this place, there's a lady who works at the front desk. Like, she just works at the front desk. That's it. So I had walked out, and I don't have a tripod. I'm using my suitcase as a tripod. My suitcase, my ginger ale bottle that has water in it. Hard times, struggle times. A Gatorade bottle. So I'm using all that as like a little tripod. You should have seen my little setup outside. It's so ratchet. But, so I walk out with it, and the first thing I hear is, like, she's sighing. I didn't pay it too much mind, like, I didn't really care. I was just like, okay. And then, like, the lady who runs the place, like, I look at her, and I told her what I was doing. I was like, so far I've clocked in about 2-3 hours of this dancing thing. I'm doing 8 hours of dancing today, and I'm recording it. And then she's like, oh, really? 8 hours? Cool. And the lady behind the desk, what does she do? And then what else? I went into this little room, that's probably the majority of the video. It's like a little room with a chair and stuff. So I'm dancing in there, and she comes walking past the door and, looks through the door, trying to check the time, seeing if I'm supposed to be in there. I'm like, do you not go over this like every couple days? Come and check the time and see that I can literally be in here right now. So that just made me think, and I made a note in the video too to you guys. And I really want to make it clear here in case you didn't see it, because who in their right mind would sit and watch 8 hours of dancing? No, I'm kidding. If you're the Vative, you will, because you're interested in success. So what I wanted to tell you guys from that circumstance, from that situation, is that it doesn't freaking matter if somebody doesn't understand and doesn't see your vision. And to me, honestly, especially if that person is older than you, because the older you get, the more time you lose, but in that same token, the more experience and stuff you gain. So if you're young, or no matter what age you are, because age is doesn't really matter when it comes to success, if you're actively seeking ways to get better at your craft and succeed and it's fulfilling you, then somebody on the side hating, so what? Especially if that person is going to be sitting at a desk for the rest of their life.
Oh man, now we're talking.
Now you speaking facts. That's facts right there.
So why does it really matter? And that really brung to the surface is what it is. This whole thing, it matters because of insecurities. That's why it matters. And I feel like the way that it works is that there's something going on, in your head, in the back of your head. It's like you've got these little insecurities that kind of echo in the back of your head. And as soon as you hear somebody say something, now it's extremely deep. It's so deep. You're like, they're talking about me. They're trying to come at me. They're trying to talk about me. Blah, 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 blah. Humans, reptile mind, survival. And I feel like we got to work to get out of that because genuinely, I don't 100. Earlier, when I got upset with that lady, this whole whatever, she's gonna take her dreams to the grave instead of living them out. That whole thing was more of a defense to keep my ego from crashing, because somebody didn't approve. But it's why do you care if people don't approve? Everybody's got their own path and reason and stuff. Just chill. If people are sighing at you, or maybe she wasn't even sighing at you. Maybe she was sighing because you keep going in and out, and she has to keep opening the door. Maybe that's why, So, I'm gonna have to trim out that cough. So, another really important thing about today, is, everything that went into it. I mean, the fact that I woke up at 5 in the morning. The fact that I woke up at 6 in the morning, went back to sleep, got back up at 7. I had to put my siblings on a bus. Woke up at 6, went back to sleep, woke up at 7, been up ever since. It's just the fact of how much freaking work I'm putting in. I just dedicated I could have been resting today. I just filmed an entire skit yesterday that's not even edited, and it's on my camera right now. It's still saved in my camera. I didn't even get to upload it. But not only did I freaking do that, but I just recorded myself dancing for 8 hours. Truthfully, when have you ever seen somebody dance for 8 hours? Dancers these days barely even dance to the entirety of a song. You give them a song that's 3 minutes, they dance to 60 seconds. Guilty. I do it sometimes too. But I'm a different story because I can dance to long songs. I've done it before. Go on my channel. In my the Slow Rush playlist or my dance videos playlist. Posthumous Forgiveness, that video is 6 minutes. I can dance to longer songs. If I'm dancing to a shorter song, it's by choice. Maybe I didn't have enough time that day to do a longer song because it would take more editing. Maybe I just felt like dancing to a shorter part of the song because I wasn't really feeling the rest of the song. Maybe I didn't feel like challenging myself to that extent, So really, that comes to mind. What are you doing to set yourself apart from everybody else? That's the question. Me auditioning for the show, me trying to do all these things with dance, what is helping me set myself apart from people is the actions I take to actually make it real. I don't just talk. I hate that. me just talking, I wouldn't have a podcast. I'm acting through this podcast. Through the podcast. I'm putting in work through the podcast, literally, because it's helping me get my name out there. So I'm never not working, you know what I'm saying? And dancing is my talent. Now, me dancing for 8 hours is just proving, like, wow, this is how hard you're willing to work. You're really willing to work this hard. Oh, going off on a tangent. Here's another thing. I don't know if I'm crazy or not, but it seems like with me, every time I put in a ridiculous amount of work, like a really strenuous activity towards my dream, and I get like all the dopamine and stuff at the end, that I get like some type of huge possibility. There's a podcast every day, so I'll be able to update you guys. But today, like nothing, like no like huge opportunity happened. But I feel like one's coming. Because when I was 16, literally every time I even danced for an extra hour, randomly somebody's offering to give me a ride to a battle. And mind you, I lived in an area where there wasn't a lot of dancers, but somebody from a different town was offering to give me a ride to a battle. I danced for 8 hours. Some dude who wanted to be my mentor, after the 8 hours, that's when he wants to say, I'll pay for you to go to World of Dance. Oh my God, and guess what I just proved to myself to freaking day. So when I was in a dance community in Florida, right, I'm going to try to slow down, I'm talking super fast. When I was in the dance community in Florida, right, see the thing about me when I was in a dance community out there is, there was like adult dancers, they were like in their 20s, early 20s, mid 20s, and they would all say like, I love this kid, I love how hungry he is, I love how he comes to a battle and he challenges everybody. He doesn't care who they are. The people I'm scared to battle, this little 16-year-old kid is calling them out. Wow, that's crazy. This little 17-year-old kid is calling them out. But see, now the thing is, when I turned 18, it became more so of a, alright, buddy, life is about to hit you. It's time for life is about to hit you, and you about to see exactly why these people don't go as hard as they used to. You're about to see it, because when you need to think about how you're going to take care of your family, when bills start to come into effect, when you need to think of how you're going to get a job, how you're going to get training in a career that'll actually pay for things, that's when you're going to see why these people freaking quit. That's when you're going to see just exactly why when we went to that one dance battle that, of course all the people was like 20 or something, but we all lost the battle terribly, didn't even make top 16, didn't even get past the prelims. These dudes go to Steak and Shake and celebrate. Now you're going to see why they're not dogs like you. Now you're going to find out, because life got to them. And this right here, dancing for 8 hours, just proves life. You can't get to me. I'm willing to tackle anything you may throw at me. Like, for real. This dancing for 8 hours just proved to me how hard I'm willing to go. Bro, my feet are so sore I can't even feel them right now. And I'm just thinking, like, who else is going this hard? Let's just be real here. And also, let's not forget to take into effect that not only did I do something hard, but I did it the hard way. I didn't just go and dance for 8 hours. I danced to the same song on repeat for an hour straight. That NBA Youngboy song, I didn't know that song. I just saw it was trending on YouTube. And now I practically know the whole song because I danced to it for an hour. Let's see, that song's about like 3 minutes. There's 60 minutes in an hour. I don't know what 60 divided by 3 is. I graduated with like a bad grade in math, but whatever. So, that's basically this is my version of when Kobe was in the gym and the dude was working out, and Kobe was there, and the dude left, came back, Kobe was still there. The dude practiced, finished, Kobe was still there. And then he asked Kobe, why he practices so hard, and then Kobe said something along the lines of, to show you that no matter how hard you work, I'm willing to outwork you. That's how I am in dance.
Oh man, now we're talking.
Now you speaking facts. That's facts right there.
In my mind, like, mentally, I remember, I'm not sure if this dude was just trying to flex, trying to make it seem like he works hard, but I remember there was like this dancer who had like a style I didn't really like, I didn't really care for. It kind of looked like African dancing mixed with like crump. I don't know, it just looked weird to me. But I remember at World of Dance when I remember asking him, I was going around asking people how long they dance to get a good idea so I could outwork them. This man goes, about 6 hours a day. Shut the heck up. 6 hours a day? Now I know you're lying. You're an adult. You obviously have a job. How are you dancing for 6 hours a day? Where are you getting that kind of time from? Huh? Where are you getting that kind of time? And me, when I was dancing and I got to hour 6, my body was sore. That's how I know that's a lie, And I'm fit, I'm naturally fit, so that's how I know that dude was lying, But guess what? Regardless if he was lying or not, I still outworked him, and he's most likely lying. So he probably dances for an hour or two a day. Probably. He probably don't even dance every day. And I also remember the whole reason I started off the whole 8 hours dancing thing is because I watched an interview of Will Smith and his trainer, his old trainer. I don't know if it's still his trainer, but his trainer had said, "That's right. We work hard," something like that. And then he was like, "Will, how much do we train?" He was like, 6 hours a day. So I was like, and I remember also interviews. I was watching Will Smith interviews like crazy, but I also remember Will Smith saying, he won't be outworked. No matter how long you stay on the treadmill, you cannot outwork him. Well, guess what, buddy? I just outworked you in this one day. Your one day of 6 hours training, I just did 8 hours of dancing, so that just felt good mentally for me. And also because the last time I attempted to dance for 8 hours, I only got to 6 because my reason for why wasn't strong enough. That's why I had to tell you guys in the podcast. That's why I had to tell the casting director. That's why I had to tell my family. That's why I had to tell a couple people. No, I didn't tell anybody on Instagram. But that's why I had to tell people, because I wanted it to be something that's held over my head. So because I know one of the biggest things I learned from this before I end this podcast is when you're going through this, if your reason for why you're doing it is not strong enough, you're going to get up. You're going to give up. When your reason for, why you're doing what you're doing, because when your body wants to tell you to quit, it's going to make you quit. But your brain has to have a strong enough reason to keep you going. And I had multiple reasons, multiple reasons. My reasons were, you need to outwork what you did in the past. You need to level up to what you know you can be. You need to outwork that dude from World of Dance. You need to outwork Will Smith. You need to outwork all these other dancers out there. Why should I pay $1,000 to come and watch you dance in Paris? Let's say I'm doing a huge thing in Paris. Why should I come and pay $1,000 to watch you dance in Paris? I'm like, because you're not gonna watch trash. I'm not just practicing a little bit. Look at how much freaking work I put into this. I put mad work into this. You can pay a decent amount because I'm not just Kid of the Great. The only time I practice is when I'm dancing in the kitchen or when I'm dancing with my brother or something. This is strictly willpower, guys. This is strictly willpower. There was nobody outside with me to tell me to keep going. That was me. That was all me. That was all a decision. That was all an idea that I had and decisions that I made, and I had the willpower to push through, which, hugely in part is because of meditation, watching a whole bunch of videos, learning about the brain, Tom Bilyeu, Evan Carmichael, all those guys, Eric Thomas, and, especially Kobe, shout out to him, R.I.P. legend, the whole, if you don't get to where you want to be in life, it's completely your fault. I believe that now, because I'm like, it's kind of like my this old therapist my family had. Before I end the podcast, I'm going to leave you guys with what he said, his words. He said, Davion, it was when I went to go audition for America's Got Talent. He said, Davion, if you go to audition for America's Got Talent and you don't make it, you need to ask yourself, did I do everything I knew I could possibly do? And if the answer is no, then you know why you didn't make it. If the answer is yes, then that's God showing you it's not time. To me, God is the universe, but I'm like, I believe in divine timing. I believe it. No way this show I'm auditioning, no way this show I'm trying to get on right now couldn't come in a better time after I didn't make it on America's Got Talent 3 times, and I just did an 8-hour dance video. I guarantee you nobody else on that show danced for 8 hours. And guess what? When I actually get out there to go and compete, that's my mental advantage on everybody. You know, you're in a room and you're looking around and you're trying to figure out what is that advantage that I have on everybody. If you don't have that advantage, if you know, I have confidence through my repetitions, through my practice. That's gonna be the confidence. I'm like, none of you work as hard as me. You don't. And I don't just work hard as in dancing for 8 hours. I also take risk and ridicule. I take the time out to be different and cultivate my own style. So not only am I interesting as freak, but I also work mad hard to where my body and my mind and practically my spirit remembers the whole freaking thing. And that's what you need to do in your life right there. If you want something, go and freaking get it. And always a good thing I like to say is if you can't control it physically, do it metaphysically, combine the both, and that's how you get what you want. Alright, so it's 11:29, it's time for me to go, but thank you guys so much for listening to the Vative Experience. Today was a really interesting day, and I'm hoping that you got a lot from this podcast. And you know, go watch the actual full video on my YouTube channel. It should be up soon, or maybe it is up right now. I don't know, it depends on when you're watching it. But yeah, that's it. I'm out, guys. Leave me a review in the comments or something, but alright, thanks for listening. I don't know what else to say. This is an awkward ending, but peace out. Yeah, peace out.